Hi, good to see you again. Stacey here. Thanks for joining me. So once again, we will kick it off with a card from the Zoltar Speaks deck to get a sense of the energy. What's going on? Let's breathe. Give us a chance to connect and connect with Source. Let's see what we got on the docket. We got a couple today. That's okay. All right, so first one up is your future life will be very sunny. I see in it a chest full of money. Be free to spend it as you see fit, because there will be plenty more of it. You are a fortunate person. You were born under a lucky star, and that will carry you safely through all of your ventures. In time, your love life will be something for the world to talk about. You will be extremely happy. There will be those who envy you and try to harm you. Just really learn who your true friends are, and all will go very well for you. Your lucky stone is a ruby. Well, do we just pick all the good cards? I know that they're not all like this, so I love that these are the ones that I keep pulling out. Maybe you need a reminder. You're born under a lucky star. I don't know about you, but today was a day where I felt like nothing seemed to feel as right as it has other times. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes we got to take a day to let things settle and get a sense of where we're at before we take those next steps. Because it's not worth dragging our inner child, our sense of self, along kicking and screaming, saying, I know what's best. And things are going to work out for us. I trust that for us. All right, let's read the next card, and then I'll get into it. All right, tomorrow seems to be the busiest day of the week for you. A tall list of tasks weighs heavily on the mind. Quit procrastinating and do what you have been saying you will do today. Relief and peacefulness await. See? There we go. It'll wait until tomorrow, but we better get it done tomorrow. So here we are, Tuesday, because it always happens on a Tuesday. I don't know about you, but there's a particular day of the week that things seem to feel different, more I'm not going to say like it's more challenging on Tuesdays for me, because then it's like, hey, let's look forward to the most challenging day of the week. No, it's I like to think of it as special because things happen, conversations happen. Putting ourselves out there seems to be more rewarding on a Tuesday for me anyway than it is on any other day of the week. How about for you? Do you have a particular day of the week? So sure enough, I give myself the time that I need in order to kind of get myself back to rights and do what I can in the meantime. Plug away here, plug away there, do a little dishes. I finally made that dal palak, by the way. Oh my god. Game changing. The spices, incredible. The texture, phenomenal. So worth the wait. Although I take forever sometimes, especially when I'm attempting more complex spice blends and different techniques in cooking. I tell myself I'm doing really good at all of these different styles of cooking, but you put yourself into the shoes of another recipe and a whole different style of cuisine, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'll get to that. And it took me a week to be able to even get to the sense of being like, oh, let's go over the recipe. Let's get familiar with it. What's tripping me up here? Okay, it's the cumin seeds. Okay, then I'll go get some cumin seeds because all I have is ground cumin. Brilliant. Okay, so now I've got the cumin seeds and I've got the ingredients and I need to soak the lentils. I gotta soak the lentils. Okay, so I soak the lentils. Okay, well, I don't have time to cook now, so we're gonna put those in the fridge and try to come at it another day. A couple of days later. Like, this took weeks, my friends. This took weeks. And I was talking myself out of it. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm going to mess up the thing and I got to have it all ready. And I want to make sure that I do things at the right time because it's a lot of spices at different times. And then you caramelize the onions with the spice blend and the onion oil. But then you got to separate the onions from the oil and then mix only half and half because you want to put half of it at the finish. But then you want to top it with the other half when you serve it. Anyway, I got there. It was not perfect by any means, but I tell you, it was delicious. And the lentils were great, and I've got tons of dal palak to eat for the rest of the week, and I'm thrilled. I'm going to make a giant pot of rice tomorrow morning, let me tell you. But yeah, it was, I even had to amp myself up with some like good, Spirit was great. There was some fabulous, I don't know if you guys ever go grocery shopping with Spirit. It's part of the old for me. I don't know about you, but anyway, when I was doing some psychic development, part of the old ways of gaining confidence and building a relationship with Spirit is working with your runners. All right. Now the runners are a team in Spirit that work to go just ahead of you in order to help you out, or again, get in your way, depending on where your mindset's at. If you keep telling yourself you're going to get tripped up, trust me, you're going to get tripped up. So I've been working over the many years now more proactively with runners. Now, I always like to say when I'm doing my card readings or training with people, my favorite way to work with my runners, work with parking spots, especially when you're late or running behind. My Spirit team, my runners are going to have a parking spot for me. They're going to know exactly where to park. And now I'm pretty good at being able to just, show up at the grocery store and be like, okay, where's the parking spot? And kind of go with the nudges and the feeling of it. And usually 90% of the time I got a parking spot that's great, or at least I drive over to where I need to be for the parking spot that's there. I can't tell you how many times when I'm working my stagehand work and it's the only parking spot left on the street. Seriously. So I trust the timing. I also do this when I'm in traffic. I trust that by the time I'm on the road, it's going to be the perfect time to get to the bubbles in the lanes, right? So there's nobody around you. You've got all the access that you need. One of my favorite mantras, especially when I'm running late, or I think I'm in the wrong time. Because sometimes we get hard on ourselves when we're like, oh no, I should have been there hours ago. No, I'm trusting that I'm here and the road at the time that I need to be. Traffic is exactly where I need it to be for me to get there as soon as possible. And most of the time these days, it works out really well. So, back to what I was talking about. I was going grocery shopping, and I love grocery shopping with Spirit. Usually how I meet Spirit halfway when it comes to this is I've got my grocery list. I know when things are starting to run out, and I start to keep an eye open at the grocery store. Sometimes, if I've got a couple extra minutes, I'll see where again the nudges lead me to go check stuff out. And sure enough, I was in the grocery store, and what was it? Something was, I saw the English muffins. Gluten-free, dairy-free. Let me tell you, when they go on sale, it's a big deal. They're on sale, which is great. Well, I guess I can make myself some breakfast sandwiches. Maybe I should go check out and see what's happening over in their section there. To go and check out where the back bacon is, because I like my back bacon every once in a while. And sure enough, it's on sale. The point I'm trying to make is if you believe that the universe is conspiring for your success, Spirit's usually pretty good at saying, hey, I know this game. Let's jump in. And it's funny because even in my nose is so itchy today. We are channeling Spirit today. Oh my gosh. You can tell. And I'm not wearing any makeup and my hair is super dry. That's okay. It is what it is today. I was crying earlier because it was like, I had one of those moments where I was not feeling as certain about my awesomeness as I can. In fact, my roommate had come upstairs at one point and was like, oh, I'm awesome. And I'm like, who says you're awesome? Do you know how oblivious you are to the lives around you? And it was my mental chatter today has been a hoot. Anyways, it's funny because I had a meeting and this person was absolutely just enamored and impressed with me. And I was like, I'm glad you see it. And I was self-deprecating. I did not. I was ridiculous today. And usually I can come across fairly confidently. Just simply because, you know what you're working with. And it's taken a long time, and I'm pretty happy to say most of the time, I'm like, okay, I'm doing good, I'm showing up in a good way, and things are kind of working out for me, and I'm okay with that, right? Well, you better believe I'm taking on some new stuff this year. Maybe you are too. Maybe you're trying out some new techniques, some new skill sets, throwing yourself into a new environment, whether it's trying new recipes, a whole new cuisine and spice blend, or maybe it's a matter of putting yourself out there in ways that you haven't up until now. But I tell you, your old feelings, you miss being the big fish in a little pond. That's for sure. And we romanticize the past because our brain, as I've mentioned before, is great at forgetting the stuff that was so terrible because we've lost the emotional connection. So again, it just slips out of the memory and who am I again? What was the problem? That past partner was just so fabulous. I don't know why the relationship ended. So here you are, taking these first steps into new skills, new habits, new ways of being, and it feels intimidating. Like, what am I doing? Why did I leave the sure stuff for the stuff that I don't even know if I'm actually supposed to be here and doing an okay job? Right? It happens that way. We have these moments. And here's the weird part. And I love saying weird because I know Spirit was like, hey, I'm going to send you this one. I get an email of a delayed apology and a best wishes. And I was like, what an email line. I love a good subject line, and that was the subject line of the century. Somebody writing to say, hey, you know, I owed this apology to you ages ago, and but I hope you do well. And I was like, holy shnikes. Holy shnikes on today of all days. And I'll get back to them tomorrow, but I just, like I said, today, here I am thinking I don't know anything about anything, and what am I even doing here? And Spirit's like, nope, you've got people across Canada that think you're pretty cool. So that was interesting because my meeting was with some professional over in Halifax for a potential partnership. And then one of my old board members reached out to kind of give me a quick update on what had happened from their perspective, which is so important, right? Because the stories we tell ourselves. And what was really fascinating, and why that mattered, by the way, give you a bit of context, I had gone through board members so fast in those months and lost good friends at the same time because as I started the foundation, all of a sudden, it wasn't just me being sober and trying to help my family and trying to better my life. It was, I'm actually an okay person doing pretty good things, and why don't I start standing up for myself more and asking others around me to do what I'm doing? Because I'm not going to ask them to do it if I'm not doing it myself. And I was going through all of this growth and challenging myself and becoming a different person, and I was losing people left and right, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? It must be me. I must be the problem, right? So I signed up for this course the next year. It was this beautiful 8-week community development course, and it helped me just listen to other people that were actually in that space. And I say actually because the people that I had brought on board were kind of interested but didn't quite know who they were or had a sense of their own worth, because that was what I was attracting at the time, because that's where I was. And so as I leveled up or raised my vibration or improved my competence, the stuff that doesn't fit falls away. And isn't that interesting? Right, here we are, we find ourselves again going through another leveling up, another process of evolution, and it just seems really quiet because there's less people around again. As I wait, as I make space to connect with the new crowd that will be there and the new friends and the new connections that are going to be at that level, it helped me to kind of get a sense of the cycle of it all. I think we've talked about this before, where, you know, it really is a cycle of development where we go through similar situations, but this truly is new levels, new devils, my friends. I don't want you to feel like you might be over your head at times or out of your element. That is part of your process. All right? You are meant to get uncomfortable, and by accepting the discomfort, we reduce the agitation. Agitation tends to produce more of what creates that agitation, right? We can't be the person we need to be for the new life holding on to the old beliefs. We can't take the old, thank you, that was a confirmation. We can't take the old matrix with us. We can't bring how the universe works in the old way to the new way of how the universe is working, because you're meant to discover it as you go through this process, which is why it's so freaking intimidating at times, because you have to scrap all the things that you thought you knew on purpose and put yourself out there and stretch. Oh boy. Yeah, and I mean, we talked a little bit about this last video, right? Because, hey, maybe I meant to go do crazy things. Well, you're meant to stretch yourself in a reasonable way. Cover your bases. Don't make yourself get into a place where you're losing your home or you're not able to eat proper food, because that is critical for you to be able to move forward in a good way. I invite you to work on your own flexibility. I think that's going to get us through this in a really good way. Okay, let's remind ourselves your future life will be very sunny. I see in it a chest full of money. Be free to spend it as you see fit, because there will be plenty more of it in our future, because that's what we're working towards. Those are the seeds that we're planting. In fact, we are going to be planting those seeds tomorrow. I highly recommend that you let it be the busiest day of the week for you. Deal with that tall list by checking them off and getting that sense of accomplishment and completion, that zing of yes, I am making this decision and we're going to figure it out along the way, because I believe in you. I got love for you. I got hope for you. I absolutely do, because you are attracted to these videos, which means if you've made it this far, then you know that I'm rooting for you and you know you're going to make it. So, oh my love. Mwah. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.